Okay, sweet. So today we're going to be talking about two weapons, two like things that we need to make sure that we are really addressing and we're looking at. And I'm going to kind of give you the why. So if you're taking notes today, totally like this is a great call to take notes on. If you're listening in and you're walking and enjoying the beautiful sunshine, keep doing it. It might be a good one to, just re-listen to, or it's just a good refresher. Beatrice, you've been in for a little bit, so you've probably actually already heard this call. It's going to be a good refresher for you. So, okay. So today we're going to be talking about two things that are really important that we don't think about quite often whenever we are looking to lose 20 pounds. Something that we just really don't think of as being like a big factor, like one of the big dominoes in the equation of us losing weight, but they really are. So let me share my screen. Get to the screen I want to share. Can y'all see my slideshow? Good. Okay. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about sleep and stress. Kind of what goes on with these two different things, and why I really feel like I kind of beat you guys over the head with them here in the 12-week program. And the reason why is because it took me way too long to understand the connection of sleep and stress in my life, how I could control a lot of it. When I think we hear stress and we think of like all the things that kind of go on in our life that we can't control. And there are so many things that we can't control, but there are certain things that we can control, and we can control the way that we handle the stress, the triggers for ourselves. And so different things like that. So we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to end with an exercise that I really would love. If we have enough time, we can actually do it on the call. But if not, I want you guys to do it like as quick and as soon as you can. And then I want you to post the exercise in the Facebook group, because it's something that is going to really help us kind of look at things in a different perspective. So what is the connection? Why am I talking about it quite a bit? So we generally focus on exercise and nutrition whenever we think we want to lose weight. If you're new to the program, you might be thinking that, those are like your main things to focus on. They're big factors in everything, but it's not the main things that we focus on here in the program. The reason for that is because, it's kind of like a domino effect. If we don't have our sleep, our stress, our digestion, our recovery, our nutrition, our workouts, like all of those things, if they're not all moving in the right direction, then one of those things can really be hindering you from reaching your next goal, from seeing a new low on the scale, from feeling like you wake up and you are energized enough to stay focused throughout the day, follow through with your nutrition plan, follow through with your workouts, all of those things. So think of it like this. Think of it as, let's say we are going scuba diving. We're in the ocean and we're going to go scuba diving. We've got our mask on, we've got our gear on, and we are underneath the water. We're looking down, and you and I are beside each other, and we're having a great time. We kind of look over here and we just see like a lot of wildlife doing its own thing. We see fish kind of going everywhere. We've got big fish, we've got little fish. We've got fish of all sizes. They're all doing their own thing though. Then we look to this side and we see a school of fish. Okay. These fish, some of them are large, some of them are small. And they do take up, they're not all the same, and we can tell they're not all the same fish, but they are all moving in tandem. They are all working together. You know what a school of fish looks like. You can recognize that in your brain right now. You're probably picturing it. So I want you to think about that. Whenever I have you turn in your biofeedback forms every Monday, when that is sent to you, those are your school of fish that we are working on to get moving in the right direction for you, so that you can wake up and find that it is just easier to live a healthier life, that it is just easier. You just think clearer nowadays. You understand that your environment is so important to supporting your weight loss, because you don't want this to be a let me lose 20 pounds, let me work so hard, but then once I'm finished with the program or through the program, whatever it is, I'm not working on the habits. I'm not working on adjusting anything else in my life except for being super rigid with my nutrition and my workouts, that at some point that motivation is going to die, like we talked about last week. And I have not put in place the habits that are going to come in and give me the discipline that I need to keep moving those fish and to make sure that those fish are moving together. So our habits, our day-to-day choices that we make, all of those things are like a school of fish. What we want to do is get our fish from looking like this set of fish over here to where everything is just crazy and it's all going in different directions. You might be doing some things that are good for you, that are good for your health, that are good for your body, that are getting you to, be able to move forward. But there are other fish in this area in your life that are actually keeping you stuck. And so if things are working against you, but some things are working for you, you're really going to play that tug of war all the time. You're really going to be in the position to where you feel like you're on a hamster wheel all the time. And you kind of might have one good week or a couple of good days, but then a few days just knocks you back so far. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, it happens. And honestly, it can still happen. Like, it's been a really crazy summer for me, personally, with the business, with family, with kids, like so many things. It's just been crazy. It's really easy to get knocked off. And so that's why it's really important to keep these things and the things that I ask you in your biofeedback, I want you to be thinking of them continuously. How can we make these better? If one week, we're just not getting much sleep, for maybe we have sick kids, maybe our schedule's just different, like we can't do it. What do we need to adjust, and what do we need to be looking out for, so that we know what's going on? We can kind of compensate. It's all working together. So
Hey, Brittany.
I can hear you, but I can't hear her.
Yeah, I can't hear her either, but I don't know if she can see us.
I don't think she can.
No, I don't have video.
Yeah,
Again.
can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's funny. I texted her on Messenger, but I figured maybe if we all left, she'll get the point, but I don't know. Yeah, she's not checking her chats or anything like that. Maybe if we raise our hand, she'll say something.
Yeah.
I tried that a while ago.
I lost video of her again.
I have video, but it's like on stuck on number 1. First, let's talk about how to sleep.
Oh,
She's just going on and on.
she finally stopped talking.
Let's see. Can y'all hear me now? You can hear me now? Okay. It switched up on me. Okay, so sleep is super important for us. We need it for so many things. And you guys heard that he mentioned the food that we're eating. He also mentioned walking. so important for us. And that is why we are really honing in on the foods that we eat. And I tell you guys all the time, like we want to get our steps in. We want to get to walking. That's for that reason. We want to come in and really help ourselves as much as we can with our lifestyle, with different things that we are that we're doing in day to day for us that will help us so much. Let me get out of this full screen. Sometimes I really don't like this. Okay. I'm not too savvy all the time with all this.
We lost about 6 minutes of your conversation.
Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me now, right?
Yes, but we lost about 6 minutes of your
Good.
conversation.
Audio stop.
Yeah, you were on number one.
Can y'all hear me? Somebody tell me.
I can hear you. We saw a dude on a chalkboard, but we didn't hear a word he said.
Almost all of the beginning was silent. Like since I started the call?
No, since you went to PowerPoint or shared screen.
Well, no wonder y'all were. No wonder the chat was blowing up. I was like, oh, y'all have a lot to say today. Okay, so let me go back then. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go back then just a little bit. Okay, so let me see. So we talked about, let me tell y'all what I really want you to understand and get. Did y'all hear my School of Fish story?
Yep, got that one.
No. Okay. So in our lives, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about us going scuba diving together. And we've got our mask on and we're down underneath the water and we're going to look to our left and we see fish under the water, all different kinds of fish. They're kind of doing their own thing. There's really no order. It's kind of like crazy under there. But then we look over to the right and we see there's still different size fish. There's still different kinds of fish. But it is like it's a school of fish. They're working together. They're flowing. We can see that they're beautiful. They're moving through the water. Our goal is to get all of the very important things that have to do with weight loss and enhancing and improving your life to support your weight loss. Our goal is to get your fish going from the fish that look like everything's crazy and going they're all their own boss. They're all doing their own thing to a school of fish looking like they are moving through the water. They are working together, right? And so every week with your biofeedback forms, I ask you how these things are. Those are your big school of fish: our sleep, our stress, our digestion, us staying on top of our nutrition plan, our workouts. And that's why I want to see your steps in Trainerize. If you have something that links it, your step counter, different things like that. And if you don't, there are a few of you that don't, and you just send me your steps every day. And so, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to get your fish going from looking crazy and out of order to looking like a school of fish. Stress and sleep are two very large fish for you. They will make a massive difference in the quality of life that you have, in the longevity of your life, and just being able to enjoy life better, to get to a place to where you are seeing the results you want to see. And if you have a week that you don't see something that you want to see on the scale, but you know why, you can assess your fish. You can assess what you've done from the week before, and you can look at your stress and you can look at your sleep, which are the two we're covering today, and really be able to say, well, is something off? What can I do to compensate for that? How can I help myself this week? And that's the big picture here. So we went over stress and sleep somewhat here, and we know that sleep affects almost every single thing that our body our body does: our metabolism, our immune system, our moods, our resistance to disease in our lives and in our bodies. And so research shows that a chronic lack of sleep, us even getting just poor sleep quality, really increases our risk of disease. It also increases that inner tube that is around our waist. It increases that because our insulin levels and our insulin sensitivity is not going to be where it needs to be. If we have a decreased insulin sensitivity, which means our blood sugar, if we have high blood sugar because we don't have a good amount of sleep in our system and we don't have good systems in our life to promote sleep. Remember last week's call, our morning routine, our nighttime routine, capping our days, focusing on the wins in our lives, which some of y'all have told me that you've been doing that. And I'm so happy. I hope that you're continuing to do that. If you are still doing that, will you please tell me in the chat? And if it's helped you, even if you haven't done it consistently, 7 out of 7 days, has it changed the glasses that you've put on? And has it helped you to stay focused for the next day? I did it this morning. I know what's going to help me at the end of the day to be able to look back and say, those are my wins for the day, right? And so we want to do things and put systems in our lives and in our days that will help us to be able to get better sleep, to in turn keep our blood sugar stable during our day, to keep our food the way that it needs, to keep our cravings low so that we're not craving all the carbs, all the sugar, all of those things that in turn will come in and skyrocket our blood sugar levels, right? Which will in turn have us less insulin resistant and will increase the inner tube that we have around our stomach and increase the fat that we have on our body and increase the inflammation in our body. Okay, so I'm going to move on here and talk a little bit. I'm going a little quicker because, well, y'all know why. Our immune system. Sleep is so important to restore and repair our bodies at a cellular level. So we need maintenance. Our bodies need maintenance. We are a machine, right? Just like we talked about, like thinking of our metabolism, like as a machine, it revs the entire machine. So our bodies need maintenance. We need a healthy immune system or we're going to be sick all the time. And sleep is one of the ways that our immune systems comes and it maintains, it just kind of helps our body function the way it needs to be. So having enough sleep is going to prevent us from getting sick. It is, you know, I see it myself personally with Hashimoto's. When I don't have enough when I don't have enough sleep, I can start to tell that it truly affects my brain function. It affects my stress levels dramatically, which in turn, I start to feel the cravings come on. I start to feel things just, I feel like I can't handle things, but it all starts from sleep. I get sick much more often. Okay. And so putting these things in place and really understanding that this is a big fish in our system. It's a big mover in your success or failure of you losing your weight and keeping your weight off. Sleep is also essential for brain health. Think about it as important as food and water is to us. That is also sleep. We need it in our lives. And so I went through so many years of not really prioritizing sleep. I've never been somebody, you know, people always say, oh, like, oh, I need my naps. I love my sleep. Like, I never could identify with that. It just wasn't me. I'm a worker. I want to work. That's what I want to be doing all the time. I want to be making things better. I want to be improving. I want to be doing this. It's hard for me to stop. It's hard for me to sit still, but I've had to learn the value of it. And I've had to understand that if I don't do that, then the things that I'm working so hard for, I'm just working against because I'm not really listening and I'm not really paying attention, whether I like it or not. Right. Some of you guys probably get frustrated when you know, we're looking at things and if you're like, hey, like I'm not seeing something on the scale right now. Why? Like I'm doing everything right. And I say, well, how's your sleep? What'd you do? Doesn't that sometimes seem like an answer that you're just like, oh, I'm so sick of her asking me that. Like, I'm so sick of that. And I get it. Like it can be frustrating sometimes, but it is something that we have to accept as being a massive part of our quality of life, of our ability to fight off disease, of our ability to maintain weight loss and have the energy to have successful weight loss, and it impacts our brain as well. So when we can't sleep, we actually can't maintain the pathways in our brain that help us to create new memories, help us to learn new things. It's harder to concentrate. Our response time gets longer for things. And so think about it. How can we make smart decisions for our food? How can we not let our cravings control us if we're not even giving our body the sleep, which is the ability to fight off and think logically, fight off those cravings, right? So give ourselves a fighting chance, and that is done with proper sleep. So a few things that we want to look at with our sleep that are really important for us. So we want to look at quality of sleep, quantity, the consistency of our routines around our sleep, like we talked about last week. We also want to look at patterns of sleep and our circadian rhythm to help us promote good sleep, promote those patterns, and that consistency and that schedule for us. So most adults need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And oftentimes, we think that we need to catch up on sleep during the weekend. And that's true. Like, you can do that. And I encourage you to do that for sure. But I don't want that to be like the thing that gives you the pass to only sleep 4 to 5 hours every night during the week and then sleep the weekend away. Our body still needs that consistency, and you're still struggling so much that 4 to 5 days during the week that you're only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Think about the quality of your decisions. Remember, it impairs our thinking. It makes our cravings skyrocket. And so if we can add more sleep in our days during the week, our cravings will not be as strong. We can think better about, okay, I know I want this right now, but is that the best thing? We can logically think through it and say, instead of having this, let me have this. And so think about that. Try not to walk around being sleep deprived all week, because yes, you can catch up during the weekend, but you can't catch up on all of those bad decisions that you make and as a result of your lack of sleep. Okay. And so think about the quality of your sleep also. Some of us might be getting the 7 to 9 hours of sleep, but maybe you're up quite a few times during the night. Maybe you have like a really hard time falling asleep. So think about it, kids, pets, husband, having to get up and go to the bathroom. Think about that. What can you do to make your sleep environment a sleep environment, to promote sleep? We'll talk about that in a minute. Looking at patterns in your day. And we talked about that last week by starting off and ending your day with some patterns to get our circadian rhythm in check for us, so that we are awake in the daytime. We are asleep when the sun is gone, when the moon is out. That is a circadian rhythm. And so we want to try our hardest and our best. And I know that this is tough and it's not something that I've mastered, but it's best if we can go to bed at the same time every night. It helps our circadian rhythm, and wake up at the same time. So we want to have a good circadian rhythm to promote that. And the ways that we improve that is by putting parameters in place, really looking at it and saying, what's keeping me awake? What do I need to do to get more sleep? And here's just kind of a list of some things that you can do to get better sleep. You can screenshot this if you want to. So, of course, set a schedule. We've already talked about that. Exercising. Try not to exercise right before you go to bed. Some of us, that's just the way it goes. And hey, we got to get it in, right? I have had clients that have, killed it in the program. I'm thinking of one girl specifically. Her name is Rachel. Some of you are probably here because of Rachel. But her story it made me cry the first time I heard it. She worked all day. She's a nurse. She would work, and then she would come home, and pretty much a single mom. She's married, but her husband was always gone. And would do dinner, would do everything. And then she would work out in her living room, or no, I think it was her garage, at 10 p.m. every single night, 10 p.m. every night. And then she'd wake up and do it all over again. And when I heard that, I was just like, that's the definition of somebody like wanting it. That's the definition of somebody getting the gritty, getting into the nitty gritty and changing their life. And she lost, oh gosh, how much weight did she lose? About 40, 50 pounds maybe. she looks completely different. I still talk to her to this day. I actually went to high school with her, and she's messaged me. She wants to come work for us. She wants to like come and be a coach because she believes in the power of what it's done for her and learning all of these things. And so I just tell you that to say, hey, if you got to do it when you got to do it. Don't let that get in your way, and find that grit. And hopefully somebody needed to hear her story today, because she's amazing. And if you want to see her results, let me know, because I have them and I will send them to you. But she did prioritize sleep though. She made sure she got enough sleep. So she would still adjust her schedule so she could get good quality sleep. Sometimes the amount of sleep isn't, kind of on the docket for us. We can't always get more sleep, but we can look at the quality of sleep that we are getting, and work to improve that. Avoiding caffeine late in the day, alcoholic drinks before bed, those things improve. They impair our sleep quality, and our ability to actually go to sleep. Relaxing before bed. I went over my nighttime routine last week, different things that I do to help promote that and get me in a state of winding down and letting my brain wind down. If you're somebody that wakes up a lot in the middle of the night because you have to go to the bathroom, let's look at, maybe limiting your liquids like that hour before you go to bed. So really end capping your day is very, very important. So creating a room for sleep, avoiding those bright lights, the sounds. If you need to get like the blackout curtains, like think of those things. It is best to not be on a computer screen right before you go to bed. If you can't, if you're just one of those people that just lays in bed awake at night, get a book, not a screen, get a book and read, and that will promote sleep for you. Got to get water in before 4 or 5 or I'll pee all night. Oh gosh, there you go. See? And then of course, also like if you feel like your sleep is truly something that like, this is like a chronic problem, you need to see a doctor for that. You need to look at that and kind of dig in. Hey baby.
Mom,
yes.
you say no to take all the pencils out?
Yeah, he's doing his school supply stuff, but I'm on a call right now.
Leaving?
In a little bit, I'm on a call. So there's that about sleep for us. Let's look at stress for a minute. You can say hi. You want to say hi? They can't see you.
They can't.
Well, you guys get over here. Oh, you can say hello. Say hi. All right. So stress. Stress in our lives is something that, we can't always eliminate. We know that, but it is super.
Can I get something to eat?
Yes. Sorry. Stress is so important that we understand that, it's there for a reason. It's that fight or flight. It's something that, it helps our body to react in a dangerous situation, to be able to survive in those situations. And hey, for a lot of us, we've been through things, you have been through things, I have been through things, and stress and, like those fight or flight responses are what carries us through those things. And so that is important. But I want to talk about the fight or flight response for a minute. We're probably familiar with it. When our body senses that we are in danger, okay? When our body senses that we're in danger, our fight or flight response is triggered. And it pretty much immediately sets in motions a series of things that are going to help us to fight off the danger, right? Waiting. So think of like a bear, like you're in the woods and you see a bear, your body just goes into like, oh my gosh, like you're not lagging around though, like you're awake, you're up, you're alert, you're like, okay, what do I got to do? Like, and you know what to do. So the fight or flight, or it's kind of called a freeze response. It's designed to function for like a short period of time in the body. Okay. It's a quick rush of adrenaline. So think about this, like if we slam on our brakes to avoid a car accident, that's kind of like what I want you to think about it as. But the problem is whenever we're stressed, our body triggers the same reaction like that. And so stress in our lives oftentimes it just continues. It's not like a quick, let's slam on the brakes and then we're good and then we're moving on and we're doing something else. It stays and it lingers. And then one stress trigger causes another stress trigger, and then it causes another stress trigger, right? Think about things like family stress, relationship issues, work stress, financial issues, relationships, health problems. If there's, or maybe you're just in a stressful environment, maybe you have a stressful boss, anything, any of those negative stressors in your life, they compound. Consistency compounds in a good way or a bad way. So if we're looking at stress, the stress of the consistency of one stressful thing in your life over another, over and over and over, that is going to compound for you. And then you find that you're living in this sense, in this state of constant stress. You're constantly in that fight or flight mode. And that is not healthy. Okay. When we're experiencing long-term stressful events, then our fight or flight response remains on for days, for months. It can stay on for years. Okay. And so when that happens, stress comes out in the body in the form of disease, in the form of autoimmune issues. My autoimmune issue was triggered from Jacob's pregnancy, on top of, because we found out he was a very rough pregnancy. Then I was diagnosed, then his heart condition. Back up before that, I had my other business. We needed to change. We didn't know what was going on. It was so stressful in our lives. Our marriage was stressful. It was one trigger after another, over and over and over and over again. And it manifested its way out, right? Like it controlled my whole body. That is why I have had to learn, and I continue to have to learn, how to manage that stress, because it affects us so dramatically. And you can bet your bottom dollar it's affecting your weight loss, and it's affecting what you see on the scale. All right. And so, if you're always tense, you've got this jaw that's super tense, you've got a sore back, neck all the time. If you're easily irritated, if you have trouble thinking clearly, like you feel like you kind of have that brain fog, if you have digestion issues, if you feel like you're always bloated, your stomach is always in knots, if you just feel stuck and you feel like you don't know what to do. I remember always feeling like I was always, washing dishes, and where I would wash dishes at our sink was, I guess, where I would think. And I always used to think is like because I would think like, okay, time is slowing down right here. I can think, but like my house would be crazy behind me. Like my kids were going nuts, like this and that. And I remember thinking, if I could just hit pause and like catch up, and just hit pause, and everybody would freeze like you see in the movies, then maybe I could catch up enough to feel okay. And to feel like I'm not running on stress and running on fumes 24/7. And I think that a lot of us feel that way. And I think we feel that way whenever we want to lose weight also. But we also still have to keep up with our lives, and we still have to keep up with our jobs and our family and our kids, and like all of those things. And us learning to manage stress in our lives will help us to lose weight 100%, to be in a state of being at ease and being happy and not being in that fight or flight mode all the time. We're going to enjoy the quality, our quality of life is going to be so much better as well. These are a few other things that can happen just from us being too stressed out. Of course, depression, sleep problems. You may not be able to sleep because you're so stressed out. Well, we know lack of sleep directly impacts your weight loss. It directly impacts that. Immune disorders, like I talked about, high blood pressure, lack of motivation. If we just simply don't feel motivated, that happens all the time. We just can't find the energy to work out, different things like that. It all connects, which is why I like to look at things from a holistic approach as well, which is why I hone in on nutrition and lifestyle so much for us, is because it's all connected. This is a cool graphic that I have that just kind of is talking about how stress does affect the body. I'll drop this in the Facebook group for y'all. How about that? So that you can kind of see it really closely and take a look at it, screenshot it so you can have it for yourself. But it truly impacts every system in our body. And we want to be aware of that. So stress influences all of the other biofeedback markers for us. So I want you to kind of think for a minute. And I have, you may not be somebody that is in a super stressful situation in your life from outside factors. But I do want to bring up the point that being in a calorie deficit puts a stressor on your body. Okay, it does. Which is why we're really careful with the deficits that we do put you in, and why I say that it is so important to eat enough, because when you're not eating enough and you're in too low of a calorie deficit, then your body is literally just trying to survive. And that's a massive stressor on your body. Your body just wants you to be happy and healthy, right? It doesn't really care about what you weigh necessarily. And so it just wants you to be in homeostasis. So so being in a deficit is a stressor on your body. The workouts that you do are a stressor on your body, which is why we like to balance those out with your walking, with your steps for your day, making sure that we've got your steps high, getting outside, getting in nature, getting some vitamin D. All of those things are ways to decrease your stress in your life. So if you've got these things on this side that are increasing stress, some of them you can control, some of them you cannot control. But we're also working on this end to lower our stress, to be able to lower anxiety, to be able to kind of be in that parasympathetic state, which is the opposite of being in fight or flight. Okay, so that's what the parasympathetic state is. It's being in a calm state, like taking your bath at night and ending your day in a stress-free way, like waking up and having a routine that you do, counting your wins, counting your blessings, spending time with the Lord, focusing on the good in your life, focusing on the good things that you can control every single day that will help your weight to decrease. All of those things are helping to raise your parasympathetic nervous system to a good place, to help you to be stress-free. We have so much stress going on in our lives. We've got to have something to combat it. All right. And so this is why every week in your biofeedback forms, in your check-in forms that you send in, your stress levels are really important. I'm always looking at those. I look at your sleep, I look at your stress levels, then I'm going to go to look at your cravings as well. And then I'm going to see how many days you were able to follow the program, because it all coincides together. Okay. So we've talked about this. There are so many different things that we can do to manage that stress. We might not be able to control everything that comes in, but we can control the triggers and we can control how we process it. Morning and evening routines, getting some time to just meditate, to just think things through. Cardio, exercise is a fantastic stress reliever. It is such a good stress reliever. I don't have you guys doing hardcore balls to the walls, hit workouts all the time for a reason, because we don't need to raise your cortisol levels that high. We don't need to do that. We can get results in other ways. We can get results by having you go out and walk. That's going to kill so many birds with one stone. We're going to address the parasympathetic. We're going to get you vitamin D. We're going to do all those things. So there's so many things you can do to manage your stress. Okay. And eating well is a massive way to help reduce the effects of stress on our body. All right. We eat low inflammation foods. We eat foods that don't come in and continue to inflame us. I think of stress as, think of a cat whenever it's like, you see a cat and like, it's like its back is like all like perched up, and its hairs are all standing up. Think of stress that way. If that's how it is on the outside of your environment and on the inside of your body, how is your body going to be in a place to where it is cool, calm, and collected? It is floating on a floaty, having a cute, like with your umbrella drink, chilling, enjoying life, being at that phase of a lifestyle lean, being just at the place you want to be at, to where healthy is just a part of you now. How is it going to get that to that place if you feel like you are stressed on the outside and on the inside of your body? Well, we have to address it with several things, and that's what we do holistically. We want to look at, too much caffeine, too much alcohol. Caffeine raises our stress levels. That's why it's not great to chug caffeine all day. I would never take it completely away. Like, hey, I have coffee right now, but I always pay attention to that. If you're somebody and you're in a high stress situation, high stress, time in your life, you probably need to cut back a little bit on that caffeine because it just accelerates it. It revs that engine even more. So if we eat clean fruits, veggies, healthy proteins, good fats, good carbs, then and lowering inflammation, and we're keeping our blood sugar levels stable throughout our day, we are helping to promote as much weight loss in our body as we can. And we're making our lives that much better in the process. We're less stressed, we're happier, right? We're not coming in and our gut isn't hurting every single day, and our stomach isn't so bloated that we just are in pain every single day. The gut and brain connection is massive. And it's often that when you're stressed, your stomach hurts. That's what happens to me. Like I'll feel like my stomach just hurts and it will hurt the whole rest of the day. And so there is a gut brain connection to things. And so helping us to feed ourselves, helping by taking care of the way that we process stress, feeding our bodies low inflammatory foods that do not irritate our stomach, that also help us to calm down. Food is medicine. Then it will help. You see how it just makes everything better. It just elevates our lives, right? And some of us have things, you know, like I have Hashimoto's. We have issues, and we have health things that food and different things, it may not solve the problem, and it may not make it go away, but it will make it so much better. The quality of my life, the way that I feel, the way that my brain thinks, the way that my stomach feels, all of it, it is so much better when I'm doing these things and when I am promoting a healthy lifestyle and working on my stress and working on my sleep. It all moves in the right direction. So it all goes back to those fish. Okay, we want the fish working together. That's the big thing. So this is let's see what time it is. Okay, so this is what I want us to kind of think about, and this is the exercise that I want you to do. So I want you to, if you can do it right now, go ahead and we can do it. Get a piece of paper. It'll be like a clean piece of paper, and what you'll do is fold your piece of paper like this. And so we've got two halves here. And on one side, on the left, I want you to write drains, D-R-A-I-N-S, a drain. On the other side, I want you to write charges. Okay. And so I want us to kind of just take an inventory of our life, like just kind of take an inventory of where things are right now. Okay. And so a drain, what a drain is going to be in your life is something that you feel is a stressor in your life. They're not all necessarily bad. Being in a calorie deficit, if you need to lose 50 pounds, or if you need to lose 20 pounds, or if you need to lose 10 pounds, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all, but it is a stressor. So it would go on the drain side. Okay. So everybody can write that. Unless you are in the upper limit of your sculpt phase. Okay. Now, do you have any other drains that you can think of in your life? If so, take a few minutes and just brainstorm and write them down. Like I'm going to do this with you. A few more minutes or a few more seconds, I mean. Okay. So I have a few things listed out on my drains. These would be things that right now in my life are more stressors. Now, on the other side is a charge. What are the things that you have in your life and that you are doing? Most of these things are going to be routines. Most of these things are going to be things that you will add in your life to help balance this list. Okay. Because most of the time what happens is we have too many drains and we don't really have many charges to help come in and balance our stress levels out. Okay. So a charge definitely is going to be sleep. Sleep is the thing that does 100% come in and charge us back up. That's why it's the counterbalance of that stress. That's why it's so important for us, and it's so important for your results. For me at night, it's going to be taking a bath. What are some other things that you have in your life or that you implement that you may already have that is helping you to know that you just, it puts you in more of that parasympathetic state? Walking, daily walks, your workouts. I'm going to say eating well, eating whole foods, eating foods that are good for you, that are designed, that your body needs, your body runs better on these foods, right? I'm also putting systems down for myself. Systems. I need systems in my life. I need morning routine. Okay. So do you see how, and some of us, like, you might have like tons here, but some of us might need to think a little bit harder and say, okay, I need to balance this out a little bit more. And I want you to take more time than we're taking right now to actually really do this. Like, sit in it, like give yourself like 15 minutes, maybe put some headphones on and really focus and say, okay, what do I need to do and what can I do? Because when all of these things work together and when we have the good balance of the drains and charges in our lives, and when we have our fish not looking psychotic and crazy, but actually working together, that's when it all moves together. That's when this becomes not just another diet that you lose 10 pounds on, and then you go back as soon as it's over to everything that you did before and all of the old habits, and then you gain your weight back again. What are the things that you need in your life to make sure that internally you're good, and then on the outside you're good as well? And that will reflect in your quality of life, and that will reflect in your weight loss and in your results and in the bloating of your stomach and in the way that you can think and that you can move through your day and the way that you enjoy being with your kids and you enjoy your life. All of those things go together. All right. So if you want to share these with me, I would love it for you guys to share these on the in our Facebook group. You can list a few things. You can list, anything that you feel like is kind of like that aha moment and things that you can do. So this week, I would love for you guys to honestly really sit down, do this, and then start working on it. If you need to prioritize sleep more, if we need to talk about stress a little bit more, do it. One of our clients, I mentioned her a couple of weeks ago, but we've really gotten in the nitty-gritty of looking at what works best for her. How can she really stick to her nutrition better? And so we switched it up. We're doing something a little bit different for her. And guess what? She can do that consistently. She's losing weight again. She's getting to the place to where, because she can handle it, right? We're looking at the drains and the charges in her life and the stressors and the things that are going to come in and support her stress, support her new lifestyle. And these things are helping her get the job done. And so if you need some help with those things, and if you're identifying some things that you're like, okay, like, can you maybe talk through these things with me? How can we come in and really work to even this out? I would love to talk about those things with you and see what we can do. And sometimes it just takes somebody else's eyes on it to be able to look at it and say, okay, yeah. And that's what I did with Jennifer is us just sitting down and looking at it and finding some different times that we can actually commit and say, I'm going to do this then. I can get a workout in here. I can talk to my husband about this and he can really see and support me here. Maybe he just doesn't know that would help me so much. And that instantly is more of a charge in your life than a drain in your life. And then you can do what you came here to do, right? And then you can accomplish your goals. So these things are so important for us. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute. That's all I have today. We are kind of out of time, but I'm going to just kind of run through a little bit of these questions. Oh yeah. Okay, Beatrice, taking out dairy and gluten has helped me so much. 100%. It helps me so much. for sure. The hot tea at night has become a good ritual. That's wonderful. The Gap and the Gain. Oh, you're in chapter 2. Good. I'm so glad you're reading it. It's so good. It's so good. I suggested that book last week for any of you guys that are new or weren't on the call. It's called The Gap and the Gain. It is very good. Self-care. Yeah, like those things are so good for us. We've got to balance it out. Now, if we just have a life of self-care and we never get off the couch and we never, work out and do those things, then how are we going to expect to actually, then that's going to become more of a drain in our life, because then we're going to stay overweight. We're going to stay frustrated. We're going to stay unhappy. There's a balance to everything. So figuring that out is what's going to be the game changer for you. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for coming today. If you want to share, like I said, your drains and charges, please do it. Please do that exercise. Like it really is. And you might already be like, okay. But if you do it and just get it out on paper, it just shows you things in a different way, which is what we want. It's so what I want for you guys. So, if you need me, if something that, in the call, you're like, okay, yeah, and I need some extra help on that, just let me know. Send that in Trainerize and I absolutely will help you as best as I can with these things. So I hope today's call was good. Let us know in the Facebook group what helped you so much. And y'all go have a great rest of your day. We're almost done with summer and I'm sad about that. We're about to go. I'm going to go with the kids and do some fun things later on today with them. So we're working on that balance, right? Always. So anyways, y'all have a good day. Thank y'all for being here. So appreciate you. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.